All right, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight to the Team 360 team call. Today is Monday, September 21st, and we have a special guest with us tonight. It's Christina Kluver, and she has been a Beachbody coach for 4.5 years. She's part of Team Rock Hard Bodies, and she really has like a great story because she struggled a lot with health issues and depression and has overcome a lot to get where she is. And it's really been in the last year that I have just seen like this huge transformation with her and how she's doing with the business and everything and just personal. And like, it's just been incredible to watch. She truly is awesome. And here, you guys, coach for 4.5 years, but she has a never give up attitude. She's on the verge of hitting 3-star, and she's been married for 17 years and has 3 kids. So she's a really busy mom, and up until recently was a full-time preschool teacher. So anybody that can handle a bunch of preschoolers is a hero in my book. So one thing I did want to read is something from one of her coaches. It's one of her diamonds because Christina posted, this is the first time that she spoke on a team call. And for someone else, she's been a guest speaker and she was a little nervous, but she's going to do awesome. But one of her diamonds wrote this, and I think this just goes to show what kind of person she is. But she said, even though you don't realize it, your story is a true testament of triumph, of never giving up, always striving for progress, and making sure people know everyone matters. And that's what one of her coaches said about her. And I think that pretty much sums her up right there. It's just, she believes everyone matters and she has never given up and she's overcome a lot to get where she is. So I'm really excited to hear your story tonight, Christina. So go ahead when you're ready.
Okay, thank you for having me on the call. I'm very honored. Extremely nervous. I don't know if my story will inspire anyone, but I'm going to take it back about 6 years ago. I was, before Beachbody, I was a preschool teacher for 11 years, and I was a caregiver for my grandfather since I was 19 years old, and he lived with us in our home. So that's a little bit of background. About 6 years ago, my journey started with, I had some kind of pain shooting down my leg. And so I went to the chiropractor and they readjusted me and put me on this machine. And I was going once or twice a week, but I wasn't getting any better. They popped me back into place. And then when I came back, I would be back to my original state. And so they put me on a machine and stretched me and finally took some x-rays and found out that I had 3 bulging discs in my lower back. And that I had functioning scoliosis, which is curving of the spine. And they couldn't believe that I could even walk. And I really wasn't. I was walking hunched over. I was sleeping in a chair. I was going to my other doctor. She gave me some depression pills because depression ran in our family. She gave me some painkillers for the pain, and I was on anti-anxiety medicine, and I was on sleeping pills, and I had all these prescriptions, and they sent me to a physical therapist and said that you could strengthen your core with exercise, but you're going to have chronic pain the rest of your life, and that you kind of need to come to terms with that. And I walked out of that office with all these prescriptions, mid-30s, thinking this is not how I want to live my life. I mean, I have 3 kids, and I have to, I want to run with them and play soccer with them, and like most moms, we kind of put ourselves on the back burner, and I did. I put my health on the back burner because, like I said, I was a caregiver for my grandpa, and about 6 months passed, and he started to take a turn for the worst. And to take you back a little bit, when I was 19, I moved in with him because he lived up in the woods, and his wife had committed suicide, which was my grandma, committed suicide. And so he was alone. And so being a student in college, my mom said, go live with grandpa. You can be in and out and check on him, and somebody could be there. And so I moved in, free rent, went to college. And then my boyfriend moved in, and he paid rent and went to college, and he was like groundskeeper. And we eventually got married and built had a family and included grandpa in everything we did. So for like, he carved pumpkins with the kids, and on Christmas morning he had stockings. And so he became a big part of my life. And so in that, after I was diagnosed with my health issues and I put it on the back burner, Grandpa took a turn for the worst and became very ill. And since I was his caregiver, it was my responsibility, and I carried that on my shoulders to take care of him. And I just remember it was between Christmas and New Year's, and I called my mom and said, Grandpa's not doing very good, and I'm just a mom, a busy mom, and I don't know if I can be a caregiver. I don't know, what I'm supposed to do. And I said, I think you should probably call hospice, because, I'm sleeping in a chair because my back is so bad, and I have a baby monitor by me, and I check on him regularly, and I'm trying to feed him all this protein to make him be healthier, and he would just sleep. And I, at the moment, I was just trying to keep him alive, but now that I see it, I was just kind of making the situation easier for him. And so they called in hospice, and they said that they were going to get him a hospital bed, and that they'd be back on Wednesday. And so everybody went home, and I was left with this hospice pamphlets, and I was reading through it, and he had all the symptoms of that he only had about a week to live. And I just remember thinking, I don't know if I can do this. This is my responsibility, but I don't know if I have the strength in me to do this. And I was trying to be strong for my kids and trying to be strong for Grandpa. And so I called my sister and I said, I know that we made this agreement that we could live with Grandpa, and he was supposed to live here till the day he died. And, but I didn't really expect that he was going to live here until he literally died. And I said, I don't know if I'm strong enough, if I have the determination to take care of him. And she said, this is what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of Grandpa. And this is, you're strong. He picked you because you're strong. And so she agreed to come up the next morning and visit Grandpa. And I said, well, come at 10 o'clock because he likes to watch The Price is Right. And I feed him his oatmeal with protein and his Ensure shake. And I, had all this stuff that I was trying to shove protein in him. And she came, and I said, okay, I'm going to go get Grandpa. And I went inside. I went into his room to get him up, and he ended up having a seizure. And I said, call 911. And it was Christmas break and had all the kids up here. And so we couldn't go anywhere. So I had their friends over. And so I had a whole house full of kids. And so my sister called 911, and she called all the parents to come get the kids. And I'm in the bedroom with the EMTs, and they said, we can't take him to the hospital because hospice is taken over. And when hospice takes over, we're not allowed to. And so hospice came, and they gave Grandpa some stronger oxygen and got him settled in the bed. And he came coherent. And I, said, hi, Grandpa. And he goes, where am I? And I said, well, you're in our house where you're in your bedroom where you wanted to be. And, I said, I love you. And my kids got to come in and say, I love you. And my husband had come home, and he got to talk to Grandpa, and my mom was there by then. And she, she said, hey, Dad, I'm Debbie, I'm right here. And he kind of waved at her, and then he kind of went to sleep. And hospice came, and it was this really rude lady, and she'd worked 14 hours a day, and this was her last stop, and she just wanted to go home. And here's some morphine, and I'll come back on Wednesday and check to see how you are. She didn't explain what the morphine was for, or that once I administered it to Grandpa, he would never wake up again. And his two children were there. His 3 children were there, and as this hospice nurse was telling me what to do, and they just said, they just looked at me, and so I had to sign the papers that I would administer the morphine. And everybody came and gathered around the room, and we talked, and they reminisced about all these memories. And one by one, they slowly went and took naps and took breaks, and I stood by his side because I was so afraid that I would not be able to say goodbye or be there if he woke up. And so I just dug deep into what I knew I could do to be there for him. And it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was just me and him in the room after everybody had not necessarily given up, but they went and rested. And I leaned over to Grandpa and I said, Grandpa, you're the best roommate that anybody could have. I said, thank you for all that you've done for me and my family, but it's okay. You can, I just want you to know that you can let go and that we're going to be okay, and that I'm strong enough to continue the family and continue this, our home and our land. And you can go home to Grandma and my dad and be at peace and just know that we're going to be okay. And within 5 seconds, he took his last breath. And when that happened, my whole soul, my whole being, my whole purpose just kind of went up to heaven with him. And I thought, even though I told him I was going to be okay, I wasn't really sure I was really going to be okay. And the hospice nurse came in within a couple hours, and we got him dressed, and I walked him out my house, out the door, and he drove away in a white hearse, and I collapsed in my husband's arms. And I said, I never gave up. I was there to the last second, to the last minute. And, you have the celebration of life, and you have a big ceremony, and you have, I made poster boards and had displays of all his hobbies, and, celebration life is over, and the funeral flowers die, and everybody goes back to their life, because that's just how life is. My husband had to go to work. The kids had to go to school. Everybody went home, but I was left there alone in the house, extremely depressed, lonely. I had no self-belonging. I didn't know what I was going to do or what my life held, because the life that I had was gone. And everything I did revolved around Grandpa, taking care of Grandpa, getting his groceries, his, paying his bills, taking him shopping. And so I was left with nothing. And somebody gave me a self-help book, and it was called How to Say Goodbye to a Loved One. And in that book, it said that the life that you led with that loved one is no longer that life, that you have to create a new life. And you start by doing hobbies. And I remember throwing that book across the floor, because I didn't want a new life. I wanted the life that I had. And so I sat there through the winter months, and I cried every day and felt sorry for myself. And the kids would come home, and I'd be all strong and but inside I was just like, I just didn't know what I was going to do. And in the book it said, take up a hobby. And they said scrapbooking and golfing and exercise. And so I knew that Jessica was doing a boot camp class, and I thought, I need to work. Maybe if I focused on my health, that would buy my time. And if I drove 20 minutes to her class, worked out for an hour, and drove and socialized, and I drove another 20 minutes home, that's going to be a big chunk out of my day that I can fill that void of just sitting here and being depressed. And so I went to her boot camp, and she was really nice. And I said, I've got functioning scoliosis. I've got 3 bulging discs. I can't walk straight. I'm in chronic pain. I said, I don't know what I can do, but I'm here to try. And she's like, oh, just do your best and forget the rest. And I said, well, I'm going to be in the back of the room, because in case I can't do anything, I will slip out the back and nobody will know. And so, she'd come after class. How'd you do? What'd you like? And she was just so friendly and warming and inviting. And it was like the first friend I'd ever had coming out of this dark circle of cloud. And so I went 2 times a week, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on, what classes she had. And that's when I really got introduced to Shakeology. She was talking about Shakeology, and I asked her about it, and she says, oh yeah, it's $120, because it was back then, that was the price. And it's only $4 a day, and it's super healthy. And I said, well, there's no way I can afford $120. I said, is there any way that I could just buy 2 weeks worth? Because, I don't even know if I'm going to like it, if it's going to help me. And, I can manage $60. I don't know if I could do 120. And so she took her scoop and scooped in a big bag of 14 samples, and I'd drink it for a week, and I'd go back to her and say, oh, can I get 2 more weeks? And I did that for several months using her little stash of Shakeology. And I said, and then I lost 10 pounds in my first month of drinking it, and I felt healthier and more energy. And so I said, okay, so I'm hooked on this Shakeology stuff. how do I get it at the most cheapest price? And she said, sign up as a discount coach. I'm like, are you crazy? I can't be a coach. I can't even function, let alone try to inspire somebody. And so she said, oh, you don't have to be a coach. You can just get it at discount. And so I signed up as a discount coach, and I drank it for an entire year and didn't tell anybody. I didn't show it to anybody. I mean, my husband knew, my mom knew, and I drank it for an entire year. I ended up going off of my antidepressants. I went off of my anxiety medicine and my sleeping pills, and I cut my my pain pills by a half a prescription in 1 year. And then another family blow came to our family. My husband's business partner was shady, and my husband was going to have to walk away from his business. We had used up all of our savings, and I was the naggy wife that said, something's not right. You need to do something. And he finally did. He finally realized that something was wrong, and he went to work for another company. And so I called Jess again, and I said, I can't drink Shakeology. I said, we don't have any money, and it's either feed my children or work on my health. And she said, well, what if you got your shake paid for? You only need 3 friends. And she made it sound so easy. So I asked my mom and my 2 sisters and my best friend, and they all said that they would do it for 1 month. They would give me 1 month to try it. And one of my top coach, that's my best friend, she's been drinking Shakeology every day since, and she's one of my top leaders. My mom still drinks it occasionally. She's still a coach, but she doesn't do it every day. And so I had my Shakeology paid for at least a month. And then, I lost my train of thought. So then, I'm drinking the Shakeology. I got my Shakeology paid for. And then I saw Jessica come across Facebook saying that she helped some single mom make $1,000 a month being a Teen Beachbody coach. And I thought, $1,000, that's like $10,000 to somebody else. If I could get $1,000, I could pay this bill and we could have groceries for this. And so I messaged her again, and she's like, well, first, you got to get to Emerald and hit Success Club 5. And I said, okay, well, how do you do that? And she said, you got to sign up a coach and sign up your husband. I said, well, okay, I'm going to trust you. If I sign up my husband, that's going to cost me another $89.95. She goes, oh, and you'll hit Success Club 5 and you'll be making some money, and then, we'll get you to Diamond. And so that's where I signed up my best friend, Lisa, and then I signed up my husband, and I had this bag of Shakeology. And so I became the queen of 10-day Shakeology challenges, which I did what Jessica did for me, except I had people purchase $10 or 10 days of Shakeology at $45. And I gave them a recipe card, and I made a little 2-week challenge for them. And I checked in with them daily, and we talked about how you're feeling on this day, and try this recipe and mix it this way. And 9 out of 10 times those customers either ordered a challenge pack or signed up as a discount coach. And so I did that all for like 3 to 6 months. I just kept doing it until I eventually had a team and I became Diamond. And then in October, I went to open my business center, and I saw that I lost 2 coaches that day. And I was all upset. They don't like me. I'm just not cut out to be a coach. And week 2 came, and I lost another 2 coaches. I lost 5 coaches in October, and I was devastated because, I needed these people to be my team so I could be a Diamond, so I could make money. And then November came, and 3 people returned their Shakeology the first week. And then the second week, 2 more people returned their Shakeology. And I called up Jessica, and I said, Jessica, I'm negative commission. I'm owing Beachbody money. I said, I'm losing coaches. I'm losing customers. I'm apparently doing something wrong. And I just don't think I'm cut out for this. And she said, Christina, are you doing your personal development? No, I'm not doing personal development because that means I might have something wrong. And I don't want to do personal development because, I don't have any issues. And she said, you need to take December and dig into your personal development and don't worry about anything else. And so I read The Compound Effect. And it was, if you're positive, you're going to have positive things happen to you. It's a snowball effect. And so I went into December with a plan that in January, I was going to never give up. I was going to keep going forward. And what really made a difference in January was that I didn't need these people. These people needed me. And they needed Shakeology to be healthy, to be happy. And when I made that transition of not trying to sell them and making sure I got the commission and I built a team, it all came full circle. And I ended up signing 3 coaches in January, and they were business builders, and they hit Success Club 5 in their first month. And that is the most important thing, I think, in all of this is knowing that you are helping people. And I just started sharing what I was doing. I was sharing how I felt about Shakeology, what it had done for me, and how it's changed my life, and the concept of that I could really, because that's what I was missing with taking care of Grandpa, was that I missed helping him. Even if it was helping him pass away or helping him do his groceries, I was missing that part of my life. And so when I took that in a positive note and was helping others, it really made a difference. And so that's where my team name came, because I really literally almost gave up on Team Beachbody as a coach. I was going to drink Shakeology, but I wasn't going to be a coach. And I knew that I'd never given up on Grandpa. I've never given up on my fitness. Once I started, I kept going day in and day out and trying to be better. I've never given up on my family and our future. And so I wasn't going to give up on this team that I was creating. And so I launched my team page in January, and we became Team Never Give Up. And we kind of have this motto of we strive for progress, we believe in ourselves, and everyone matters. And as a new coach, a lot of coaches struggle because you get a lot of no's. And I always tell my coaches that no doesn't mean never. It just means that they're not ready to commit. You have to have a will to do it. And they're like, well, they just can't afford it. I said, yes, they can. Everybody can afford Shakeology, because if I can afford it at rock bottom at $3 a scoop, if somebody can find 3 friends to 3 family members or 3 friends to order it for 1 month, you can give up rock stars. You can give up going to a fancy restaurant once a month to make the money to provide for your health. And it's all a matter of, if there's a will, there's a way, and they're not personally ready to make that commitment to be healthy. And so your job is to provide friendship and build a relationship until they are ready, and they're really ready to trust you and trust the process. And so that is my team motto for our team is just, to never give up. You can't give up on someone just because it's not their time, or they're not in their situation and they're not ready. And so today I have some amazing coaches that inspire me, and I just try to inspire people through my journey of, eating healthy and trying new foods and giving recipes. And I don't product vomit on my page. And I just pretty much, like the other day I made a post about Shakeology, and I said, having my dense nutrition, getting ready to be a super mom today. And I got 20 hits of what does it take to be a super mom? What are you drinking? And so it's more about sharing your journey and sharing how you feel about it's happening, and and just having belief in yourself that we're going to have bad days and we're going to have good days, and as long as we keep on keeping on, you can be a Beachbody coach and you can be successful as long as your heart and your passion is behind you. So that is my story.
That's awesome, Christina. I thank you so much for being so honest and really sharing. I think it's important for people to hear where people come from. Not people don't jump into this business and be like, oh, I'm so ready, let's do this. A lot of times, it's people that are in a situation where it seems like there isn't a lot of hope, or they've, gone through a devastating tragedy like you did, and Beachbody can give them that. And what if, because I'm Jessie, Jessie did the same thing for me. It's like she was, I was sitting there completely out of it, and she's like, hey, so, have you ever thought of, and I'm like, what? I can't even barely function. I was in the same spot. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to get out of bed in the morning. I don't know. And I think it's important to see what this can do for people. like Christina and like myself and many other people on the team. And I love that you talked about, like she started you with, well, just get 3 of your friends and you'll get your Shakeology paid for. Because it's true. Everybody has 3 friends. And that's what Christina did to get her Shakeology paid for. They were rock bottom. And, and we were too. And I think it's important. A lot of times people forget about that. We'll just get 3 friends. And when you are talking to people about it, the way that you talk to them, if you make it sound hard, it is going to be hard. But if you make it sound simple, they'll just go do it. And I think that's awesome. And I love that you talked about how you lost your diamond, but then you got it back when you focused on not the commission, but helping others. Yes. And really, you've just like, boom, boom, boom. This year, girl, you've like 1-star, 2-star, now it's going 3-star. And, you'll hit that. You're just rocking it. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. And for those of you who don't know, Christina's been signed up as a coach for 4.5 years. And she really, she drank Shakeology for a year and didn't tell anybody. Told nobody. So, all your silent discount coaches, don't give up on them. Offer them the opportunity. So I'm going to open. Yes.
One thing that I tell my team, and what I realized is that I never dreamed I would be a Beachbody coach. I was just working on my transformation, but Jessica and others instilled the belief that I could be. And so if you have discount coaches, if you're always building them up, because you mean it and you love them and they're part of your team and you build them up that you could do this, a lot of your coaches will turn to being business builders. They just don't believe in themselves. So instilling that belief in them really does help.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's so important. Does anybody have any questions for Christina? If you do, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Do you have any questions? Anybody? Anyone? Let me unmute the phones really quick because they don't. Oh, Erica. Hold on one sec, Erica. I got you, girl. I'm unmuting you. Okay, go ahead, Erica.
Okay, Christina, thank you so much for sharing. It was just really amazing. I do just have more of a specific question regarding your back. And in the last several years, what programs have worked for you? How have you modified? Because bulging discs are things we hear all the time, and having had family members with that issue, I know how debilitating it can be. And I can't imagine the people I know with bulging discs doing, I know there has to be a huge will there, but anyway, I guess just to make the question brief, what programs have worked for you and what's the status of your back now?
I started with Slim and 6 and I thought it was boring. I lasted 2 weeks on it. I was going to Jessica's boot camp and I just modified because with your back issues, you need to really build your core. You need to focus on core exercises and also your lower back muscles. And so like planking is really hard for me because that puts a lot of pressure in the lower back. But my best results, I did Chalene Extreme. That was my first program that I started from start to finish. And then I really am a 21-day fix and 21-day extreme girl. I do those all the time. Absolutely love them. I never went back to the chiropractor or the physical therapist, and I went off all my medication. And so I do have days where if certain moves that I do, like planking, will cause stress on that. But I do have a lift in my shoe that I wear. And I just think that the determination to keep going, even if you're modifying, you're going to get stronger. And if something hurts, in that area, then don't do it. But I would say Chalene Extreme and the 21-day fix are the ones that really made a difference.
Awesome. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And Christina, how much weight have you lost?
Oh, I was 165 when I started this journey, and I'm at 133. But my journey has always been about strength. I haven't had a huge weight loss like some of my coaches, but I'm able to run and, and play with my kids and without fear of my knees buckling. And I sleep laying down now instead of a chair. And so it's more about strength and weight, but it 35-ish pounds, I think.
And then you're not sleeping in a chair. You
Nope.
don't take depression medication. You don't take anxiety medication. Are you on anything now?
Nope. No
You got off your
Shakeology.
painkillers. You got off your painkillers. And you guys, we can't like claim in the medical community, obviously, about, prescriptions, but how many of us have these stories of people like just simply drinking the Shakeology and, feeling better and not having to, medicate and all of, and if you know the side effects of medication, you get one medication, it's called side effect for another medication, and then it's just a ripple effect. So I think that is important to notice too, is like she had a back issue, really bad back issue. But by simply like trying, modifying, and drinking Shakeology, she's been able to see a big difference and improve her quality of life. And I think that's, it's awesome. And she's, feeling good and gain confidence. And I also like to point out that she was struggling until she did personal development. So make sure you guys are all staying up in your personal development.
Don't go off your meds. I'm not a doctor, but
no. You always check with your doctor, but you can drink the Shakeology and then go to your doctor and see how you're doing.
Yes.
Don't go off of anything. Very important.
And do personal development every day. Something.
What is your favorite personal development book?
Oh, goodness. I really like Jim Rohn. I don't really read. I do a lot of audio because I'm always on the go. So I love Jim Rohn and the whole planting of the seeds, like harvesting your crop. You know that one? I don't know the name of it. But, and I was recently reading How to Be, or You Are a Badass was one. But I do a lot of just audio. I think the Jim Rohn and John Maxwell are my best ones that I listen to.
Perfect.
I want to read The Go-Giver. I haven't read it yet though, but I heard that's really good. So.
Sarah read it. She's saying it's good. So did Shelly. Perfect. Does anybody else have a question? Anybody? All right.
Well, thank you for listening to my story. Like I said, I don't know how inspirational it is, but I just appreciate you taking time away from your family to listen to my story.
I think it's great. I knew it'd be great. You guys, I didn't know the whole story. I only knew part of it. And Christina was at the leadership retreat with us. And I think that she shared parts of it. And I thought it was really important for other people to hear, because I think it just shows that will and not never give up in what can happen, and just to keep going and doing your personal development and being consistent. So thank you, everybody. If you have any questions or you have a question for Christina, you can message her on Facebook. It's Christina Kluver, and it's Christina with a C. And then her last name is Kluver. And so you can message her. She's very open and honest, and she's super sweet. So you can always shoot her a text or shoot her a private message if you want to ask her a question. But thank you so much, Christina, and thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
I hope everybody has a great night. Bye.